A number of questions are being raised about the safety record of BP, what was going on in drilling this borehole before it blew up. I know that when you came on as CEO of BP, you pledged to make safety a #1 issue, but there are a lot of lingering concerns about that. And yesterday, a worker on the Deepwater Horizon, Stephen Stone, testified at a hearing yesterday that, and he charged that BP is still cutting corners to save money, and that's jeopardizing safety. I'd like to play for you, if I could, a little bit of what he said yesterday and get you to respond to it.
When these companies put their savings over our safety, they gamble with our lives. They gamble with my life. They gambled with the lives of 11 of my crew members who will never see their families or loved ones again.
Mr. Hayward, what do you say to that?
I don't believe there's any evidence that there's any savings that are putting people's lives at risk. We always put safety first. Safe and reliable operations are what comes first. I do think, John, that we need to await for the full findings of the investigation before we draw conclusions. What's very clear is this was a very complicated, complex accident involving many, many things that came together. Failures of equipment, failures of human process, perhaps failures of human judgment, and it's too early to draw conclusions. There are a number of investigations ongoing. They will draw the right conclusions.
All right, so safety, again, you say your #1 concern, but according to the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, their statistics show that BP has had hundreds of safety violations in the past 3 years at its refineries. OSHA is proposing $87 million in fines against BP. That's a record. And the Deputy Assistant Secretary of Labor for OSHA, Jordan Barab, says that BP has a, quote, systemic safety problem.
All I can say is since I've been in this job for 3 years, I have focused remorselessly on safe and reliable operations. We've made significant organisational changes, changes to our processes, changes to people, and changes to our culture. And, of course, you can never do enough.
So you're saying that despite your best efforts, there may indeed still be systemic safety problems throughout the industry, throughout your company?
I don't believe there are systemic safety problems in BP today. And I think when we understand the cause of this accident, we will see that it is not to do with systemic safety issues.
And now that it's been found by government scientists that the amount of oil coming out of that blowout preventer is perhaps 5 times what it was initially thought, it may be 19,000 barrels a day, not 5,000 barrels a day. If I were to ask you what you thought the environmental impact of this spill is going to be, what would you say? What would your assessment be now?
This is clearly an environmental catastrophe. There is no two ways about it. And all I would say is that in terms of the estimates, the initial rate was a government estimate. These rates are a government estimate.
But you're upping your assessment now to environmental catastrophe.
It's clear. I mean, it is clear that we are dealing with a very significant environmental crisis and catastrophe.
You have promised, Mr. Hayward, to clean up every drop of oil that's out there. But we explored some marshlands with Governor Jindal in Paso Loutre the other day where the oil is just sitting there. Nobody has been in to clean it up. Yesterday, our Rob Marciano was out in the Gulf. They went miles and miles out in the oil spill, and they didn't see anyone cleaning up in that area. So you say that you're going to clean up every drop of oil, but where are the people doing it?
Well, we have 20,000 people in the area working on oil cleanup. We've got 50 planes now flying a continuous basis to identify where oil is coming ashore such that we can get rapid response teams to those locations and deal with it as quickly as we can.
Right. The President made it clear yesterday that he doesn't absolutely trust you when it comes to the extent of the damage that this spill is causing. I'd like to play a little of what he said yesterday and get you to respond to it.
Their interest may be to minimize the damage, and to the extent that they have better information than anybody else, to not be fully forthcoming. So my attitude is we have to verify whatever it is they say about the damage.
So you've got your company responsible now for the biggest oil spill in American history, and the President saying, I don't fully trust you to tell the truth when it comes to the potential damage. You appear to have, at least with the government, a fairly significant credibility gap here.
We've tried to be open and transparent in our communication of this from the very beginning. We've had all government agencies working with us in our organisation from the very beginning. They've had access to everything from the very beginning. If we've fallen short, then I apologise, but we have tried to be open and transparent about everything from the very beginning. And I'm very happy to have the government verify the material and data that is being provided. I spent most of last night with the Secretary Chu overseeing the Top Kill operation. I talk every day with Admiral Thad Allen about how the spill response is going on. There is, from my perspective, complete and open collaboration between BP and the federal agencies.
Well, it would appear, at least according to the President, you haven't yet convinced him. Mr. Hayward, thanks for your time this morning. I know you're busy.